Okay, welcome to the deep dive. If you're learning English, I bet you've hit this point. You feel like you know the words, the grammar, but then you try to listen to a native speaker.
And it just washes over you, right? Like this blur of sound you can't quite catch.
Exactly, like a fast train just speeding past. And that feeling, that frustration, it's so common.
Oh, absolutely. You are definitely not alone in feeling that way. It's probably one of the biggest jumps moving from, classroom English to real-world English.
It really is. So today we're doing a deep dive into precisely that challenge. Understanding native English speakers. We want to unpack why it feels so difficult.
And more importantly, pull out some really practical things, some strategies that can help you feel, well, a bit more comfortable and confident when you're listening.
Yeah, definitely. We've been looking into this and we came across some really interesting insights, sort of framed through the experiences of a couple of people, Alex and Riley.
Right. Their experiences really highlight the common problems and some useful advice. So should we dig in?
Let's do it. So first things first, why? Why is it actually so hard? What makes listening to native speakers feel like such a big hurdle?
Well, one of maybe the most obvious things learners notice right away is just speed.
Mm-hmm.
Native speakers, especially when they're relaxed or talking casually, they often speak really quickly.
Yeah, it feels like your brain is just scrambling to keep up, trying to translate and understand while the words keep coming.
Exactly. It can feel pretty overwhelming, like trying to drink from a fire hose sometimes.
Totally, but it's not just the speed, is it? There's this other thing, connected speech. That's a big one.
Huge. Because we don't usually pronounce every single word perfectly and separately like you might learn initially.
No way. We mush words together, don't we? Drop sounds, change sounds.
They absolutely do. The classic example that came up was the phrase, "What are you doing?" You learn it clearly, what you're doing, but you'll often hear something much more like, "what you're doing," or even faster, like, "what you're doing."
Yes. And if you're only expecting that slow, clear version, the fast one sounds like a completely different language almost. It's a real shock compared to textbook English.
It really is. And then, on top of how we say things, there's what we say, the everyday language.
You mean like slang and informal stuff?
Exactly. Slang, idioms, casual expressions, they're everywhere in daily conversation, but you probably won't find them in your beginner course book.
Like, someone might say, "I'm beat," instead of "I'm very tired."
Precisely. Or maybe "catch you later" instead of a formal goodbye. If you only know the textbook words, "I'm beat," might just sound confusing. You need that informal layer.
Makes sense. And then there's the whole world of accents.
Oh, accents, definitely.
Yeah.
English isn't just one thing, is it? It's spoken all over the globe. You've got U.S. English, U.K. English, Australian, South African. The list goes on.
And even within those countries, so many regional differences.
Which means the pronunciation, the rhythm, the intonation, it can all sound quite different depending on who you're listening to.
Yeah. Riley actually mentioned a friend who learned British English really well, but then found American movies incredibly hard to follow because the accent and even some of the words were just unfamiliar.
That's a perfect illustration. It shows how much variety there is. Even native speakers sometimes need a moment to adjust to an unfamiliar accent.
True. And one last piece of the puzzle, something maybe less obvious, is cultural context.
Yes, this is so important. Native speakers often talk assuming a certain amount of shared background knowledge.
Like references to TV shows or local news or sports teams or maybe famous people or events.
Exactly. Or even little inside jokes. You might understand every single word someone says, grammatically speaking.
But if you don't get the reference, the whole point or maybe the humor just goes right over your head.
Precisely. The meaning gets lost without that context.
Okay, so we've got speed, connected speech, slang and idioms, all those accents, and cultural context. Wow.
It's quite a list, isn't it?
It really is. It definitely shows why this is such a genuine challenge. But the good news is...
And this is the crucial part.
These are all things you can actually work on. They're hurdles, yes, but you can get over them with the right practice and strategies.
Absolutely. Knowing what the problems are is the first step to tackling them. So, shall we pivot now? Let's talk about solutions. What practical strategies can you use to get better at listening?
Okay, sounds good. One of the first suggestions, which seems really sensible, is about managing the difficulty level. Basically, start slow and then gradually increase the challenge.
Right. Don't jump straight into trying to understand super fast, complex conversations, that can be discouraging.
Yeah, maybe begin with materials made for learners, like news reports spoken slowly or beginner-level podcasts, perhaps.
Exactly. Things where the language is a bit simpler and the pace is manageable. Then, as you start feeling more comfortable, as your ear gets tuned in.
You can move on to slightly faster speakers or maybe more complex topics.
Precisely. It's about building up gradually, step by step, building that confidence along the way.
I really liked the suggestion about using English subtitles. That seems so helpful.
Oh, definitely. Watching videos, TV shows, movies, whatever you enjoy, but with the English subtitles on.
Because it helps you connect the sounds you're hearing with the words you're seeing written down, right?
Exactly. It reinforces vocabulary, helps you see how words are actually pronounced in context, how they link together.
And then the idea is maybe watch it again, but this time try turning the subtitles off.
Yeah. See how much more you can catch just by listening now that you've kind of primed your brain with the text. It's a great technique.
Another really valuable tip was about repetition. Don't just listen once.
Yes. Listening to the same piece of audio, maybe a short clip, a song verse, a dialogue multiple times, is incredibly powerful.
The first time, it might still feel like that blur we mentioned. Maybe you only catch a few keywords.
Right. But listen again, a second time, a third time. You'll start noticing more. You'll pick up on phrases, you'll hear those connected speech patterns, you'll get a better feel for the rhythm and intonation.
It really does train your ear over time. And related to that, there's the advice to focus on keywords and the overall context.
This is a big one. Don't stress about understanding every single tiny word. That's often not necessary. And it can slow you down.
Yeah, native speakers don't always catch every single word either, especially in noisy places or fast conversations. We rely on the main ideas.
Exactly. The example given was something like someone quickly saying, "Gonna grab lunch, wanna come?"
Right, maybe it sounds like, gonna grab lunch, wanna come.
Yeah. Even if you miss the gonna or wanna, the keywords grab lunch and come, plus the situation maybe is midday, you're at work, tell you exactly what they mean.
They're asking if you want to get lunch with them. Focusing on those anchor words and the situation helps you get the main message without getting stuck on every detail.
It frees up your mental energy. Now, going back to accents, since we know they're a challenge.
The logical strategy is to listen to lots of different ones.
You got it. Don't just stick to one type of English audio. Actively seek out variety.
So watch a British show one day, listen to an Australian podcast the next, maybe find a YouTuber from Canada or the US.
Precisely. The more varied your listening diet, the more adaptable your ear will become to different sounds, rhythms, and vocabulary. It makes you a more flexible listener.
Okay, this next one sounds interesting, shadowing. What exactly is that?
Shadowing is a technique where you listen to someone speaking and you try to repeat what they're saying almost at the exact same time, like their shadow or an echo.
Oh, okay. So you're speaking along with the recording.
Yes, or just a fraction of a second behind them. You try to match their speed, their rhythm, their pronunciation as closely as possible.
Wow, that sounds challenging. But I can see how it would help.
It really forces your brain and your mouth to work together at native speed. It helps you internalize the natural flow and intonation of the language.
And you could pause it too, right? Like, listen to a sentence, pause, try to repeat it accurately, then listen again to check.
Absolutely. Pausing and repeating specific phrases or sentences is a great way to really focus on getting the sounds and rhythm right. It's very active practice for both listening and speaking.
Makes sense. And then there's the broader strategy, maybe the biggest one, immersion.
Basically, surrounding yourself with English as much as you can in your everyday life.
This doesn't necessarily mean you have to move to an English-speaking country, though, right?
Not at all, although that certainly helps.
Yeah.
But you can create an immersion environment wherever you are. It's about weaving English into your daily routine.
Like watching your favorite TV shows or movies in English instead of your native language.
Yes, or listening to music in English. Following English-speaking influencers or creators on social media whose content you enjoy.
Reading news articles or blogs about your hobbies, but in English.
Exactly. Find ways to interact with English through things you're already interested in. That makes it feel less like studying and more like just living, but with English involved.
And technology can really help with this, can it?
For sure. There are tons of apps and online tools out there specifically designed to help with language learning, especially listening practice.
Things like Duolingo or Babbel or English Central were mentioned as examples that might offer exercises or dialogues or even ways to practice conversation.
Right. Using those tools can provide structured practice alongside your more natural emergent activities.
Okay, that's a fantastic set of tools and strategies. But there was one final, really important piece of advice tied to all of this.
Yes, patience.
Patience. It's not a race, is it? Learning to understand native speakers, especially at full speed, it just takes time.
It really does. There will be days when you feel like you're making no progress, or moments when you feel completely lost in a conversation.
That's normal.
You have to be kind to yourself, be patient.
And maybe celebrate the small victories along the way.
Yes, like did you understand a joke someone told in English? Did you follow a conversation for longer than usual? Did you catch a phrase you learned?
Those little wins are signs of real progress. Acknowledge them. Consistency over time is what really counts, much more than trying to get perfect overnight. Absolutely. So we've got the challenges, we've got the strategies. How does this all actually look in, real life, those everyday situations?
Right, because theory is one thing, but using it is another. There were some good examples of tricky real-life listening scenarios.
Like Riley's experience trying to order food at a busy restaurant.
Yeah, that's a classic one. You've got background noise, the server's probably busy, talking fast.
And using informal language, like, what can I get you? Instead of a more formal question, or you want that to go.
Exactly. It's fast, it's casual, it's maybe not what you practiced in class, and you have to understand and respond pretty quickly. It's a real test.
Definitely relatable. What about phone calls? They can be tough too.
Oh, phone calls are notoriously difficult. You don't have any visual cues. You can't see the person's lips moving, their expressions or gestures.
It's all just audio.
Yeah.
And the connection might not be perfect either.
Right. There was an anecdote about someone trying to book an appointment over the phone, and the person on the other end had a really strong accent and spoke very fast.
That sounds stressful.
It does. And it really highlights that it's completely okay. In fact, it's necessary sometimes to politely ask someone to repeat themselves.
Or maybe ask them to speak a little more slowly.
Absolutely. Don't ever feel embarrassed about needing clarification. It's much better than misunderstanding something important. Asking, could you please repeat that? Or could you speak a little slower? Is a vital communication skill.
Good point. Social situations like parties or group chats can also be a minefield.
Especially group conversations. People tend to talk over each other, interrupt.
Yeah, the conversation jumps around quickly.
And that's often where you get a lot of slang, those inside jokes we mentioned, or cultural references, maybe talking about a recent sports game or a popular TV show.
Riley mentioned feeling lost in a group once because everyone laughed at a joke, but she missed it because it was based on some local cultural thing she didn't know about.
That feeling of being on the outside because you missed the context is really common. It links right back to that cultural context challenge.
And even in more formal settings, there can be difficulties, right? Like, say, a job interview.
Yes, definitely. Even if the language used is generally more formal and structured in an interview.
The interviewer might still speak quite quickly, or they might use very specific industry jargon or technical terms you haven't encountered before.
Exactly. Understanding is obviously crucial in that kind of high-stakes situation.
So these situations, ordering food, phone calls, social events, interviews, they sound challenging.
They are. But the perspective offered was to see them not just as challenges, but as the best opportunities to practice.
Ah, okay. Like that's where the rubber meets the road, where you actually use and improve the skills.
Precisely. Don't avoid these situations if you can help it. See them as your real-world classroom. They might feel tough initially, but the more you experience them, the easier they become. You build resilience and your skills improve faster.
That's a good way to look at it. And to help prepare for those real-life moments, the idea of role-playing came up.
Yes, role-playing can be a really effective and maybe less intimidating way to practice specific types of conversations.
Like simulating a situation before you actually face it.
Exactly. There was a simple example given. A coffee shop interaction. Alex is the barista, Riley is the customer.
Okay, so how did that play out? What little things highlight native speech?
Well, Alex starts off really casually, like, "Hi there, what can I get you today?"
Right, super common, much more natural than something stiff like, "How may I assist you?"
Totally. And then Riley orders, saying, "Hey, I'll have a large coffee, please." Using "I'll have" instead of maybe "I want."
Yeah, I'll have. Sounds much more natural and polite when you're ordering something.
Definitely. Then Alex asks about food. "We've got some fresh pastries today." Using "we've got" instead of "we have."
Ah, another really common native speaker thing. Got is used all the time.
It really is. And Riley responds, "That sounds great. I'll take a blueberry muffin." And Alex finishes with something like, "Awesome, I'll have that ready for you in just a minute."
So phrases like, That sounds great. I'll take. Awesome. These are all just everyday conversational bits.
Exactly. It's these small things, the casual greetings, the contractions like ow and weave, the common filler words like awesome, the natural rhythm that make up real spoken English.
And practicing them in a role play helps you get comfortable not just hearing them, but using them yourself, too.
Precisely. The suggestion is for you, the listener, to try this out. You could practice with a friend who's also learning, or even just say the lines out loud by yourself.
Or maybe use some of those apps or online tools that offer conversation practice or simulations.
Yes, any way you can practice the back and forth of a real exchange is valuable. It's important to practice speaking these natural phrases too, not just listening. The more you say them, the easier they become to recognize when you hear them.
Right. It connects the listening and speaking skills.
Definitely.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's just quickly look back at where we've been.
We started by identifying those key challenges: the speed of native speech, the way words connect and change, all the slang and informal language, the huge variety of accents, and the importance of cultural context.
Then we moved into a whole toolkit of practical strategies you can use to improve. Starting with easier material, using subtitles, listening repeatedly, focusing on keywords, exposing yourself to diverse accents, trying techniques like shadowing, immersing yourself in English daily, and using technology like apps.
We also touched on those real-life situations: ordering coffee, talking on the phone, navigating social chats, handling interviews, framing them as crucial practice grounds, not just obstacles.
And we highlighted how practice methods like role-playing can help you build confidence for those real-world interactions by getting used to natural conversation patterns.
And really, the thread tying it all together, the core message that came through strongly, is about patience and consistency.
Yeah. Learning to understand native speakers fluently, it's definitely a journey, isn't it? Not something you achieve overnight.
Not at all. It takes time. It takes regular effort. You need to keep showing up, keep practicing.
And remember to acknowledge your progress, those small wins we talked about. Every little bit counts.
Absolutely. Keep listening, keep exposing yourself to English, and importantly, don't be afraid to just try, even if you make mistakes or don't understand everything at first.
So, to give you something really concrete to take away, a final challenge to put this into action.
How about this? Try to spend just 15 minutes every single day actively listening to something in English.
Just 15 minutes, that sounds manageable.
Totally. It could be anything you enjoy: a couple songs, a short news report, a scene from a TV show, maybe part of a podcast like this one.
The key is making it a consistent daily habit. Those 15 minutes might seem small, but they really add up over weeks and months.
They absolutely do. It's that consistent exposure that tunes your ear and builds your understanding over time. So keep at it.
Yes, keep going. With that patience and regular practice, you really will find yourself feeling much more confident and comfortable listening to native English speakers.